Welcome to the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong, and today we have another great guest. I'm very, very excited to have him here, mainly because I had the privilege and honor to be interviewed by him on his show. One of the best interviews I've ever had. Great energy, great authenticity, and he just a very, very impactful individual. So I'm very, very excited. He's been helping a lot of people all around the world recognize that meaning through storytelling and also reflection and discernment. He creates a lot of different types of public gatherings, the naming, the framing, where he's creating the safe space for people to share, to slow down, to recognize patterns and gain language for what may already be forming. He believes that truth is often recognized before it's even explained, and he is also the co-host of the show Real Estate Pro. Please welcome storyteller, speaker, founder of Parables Now, Mr. Quentin Edmonds.
Listen, man, I was looking around for a second until you said my name. I was like, who are we talking about? So I guess all those things are true. You know what I mean? But how you doing, man? I'm so glad to be here with you, sir. How you feeling, man?
Very, very excited to have you here. Always a pleasure speaking with somebody like yourself who has such great reach, such great impact on other people's lives. And yeah, just wanted to jump right into the very first question is how did you become the person you are today? Like, how did you get to become this person who's able to reach out to so many people, has this great energy when you're interviewing people and connecting with people and really, bring out the best of people?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a great answer. Like, how did I become this person? So let me say, I feel like I'm still becoming this person, right? I am still kind of in a state of recognizing who I am. I'm learning that we are human beings. We're constantly being. Like sometimes we get into the state of doing, we did in the state of trying to have, but the fact of the matter is that we're human beings, so we're constantly evolving. And so I would say, I kind of evolved into the person that I am today through trial and error, through through therapy, through trauma, through success, through curiosity. And so, I'm born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm not sure if you people are familiar with Baltimore. I know a lot of people probably are familiar with the show The Wire. And so, if you're familiar with the HBO show The Wire, it was taped in Baltimore. It's about Baltimore. And I tell people that it's probably 3% embellished. And so, most of what you see on that show is real. And so, I grew up in that culture. I grew up, I'm an 80s baby. So, technically, grew up in the 90s. And being from Baltimore, tough space to live, very, very high murder rate, crime rate. And so my parents was products of Baltimore, but I was grateful that I had a father who really kind of changed his life around. He really took seriously wanting to make sure he passed on generational wealth from a sense of rethinking the way we think, reshaping the mindset. And so my dad was a great person in my life, still one of my biggest heroes. And he instilled in me growing up in Baltimore just to think differently, to not get involved with a lot of different things and elements. And so, but being in that environment, you get environmental trauma. You grow up in a hard place where your friends are getting murdered and killed. My young sister, at the age of 16, she lost her life to violence in Baltimore. And so all of these things kind of build my mindset to like where I am now. So I learned some things through trauma. I had to get in therapy for myself. And when I got in therapy for myself, that kind of unlocked more about my mindset and how I can literally control the way that I think. I could rewire my brain. I did not have to be a victim to my trauma. And so we had that aspect, and then just went through a divorce. I'm remarried now, but went through a divorce. So like the person that you see today is trial and error, it's intentionality, it's changing your mindset, it's understanding that I had to hold space for myself. And when I learned how to hold space for myself, I learned how to hold space for others. So hopefully that answers the question. I'm not sure you have a follow-up question, but normally it's the inverse. I'm on the other side of this. And so hopefully I answered the question, man.
It's all good. Um, a lot of what you talked about there was showcasing your ability to get back up and keep on going. Lots of people out there face adversity, face challenges, and when it doesn't go their way, or something like unplanned happens, they go, okay, I can't do this anymore. I give up. And they start to just stay in that comfort zone of this is what I know, this is what I'm going to do. What you did was able to, as you mentioned, reframe how you think, change that mindset. So how is it that you're able to do that? Because the thing is, it's easier said than done.
Yep.
So what is it
Yep.
that you do on a daily basis that keeps your mind in a positive frame versus
Yeah.
kind of merging back to either negativity or status quo and giving up easy?
Yeah. Great question. And it's learned behavior. You don't do it by osmosis. Or at least in my experience, it's not by osmosis. It's literally learned behavior. And so I would say what I do now, I start my day off right. I'm gonna use the word meditation. Meditation comes in different forms. It's literally ruminating on kind of a thought. So some people, may sit in silence. Some people may, listen to a podcast. So for me, it's about setting my intentions for at the beginning of the day, and I do it various different ways. This morning, I was at the gym at 4 in the morning. That's part of like my meditation, part of the routine. I can't say I go to the gym every day at 4, but I'm actively doing something to get my mind and my body situated. Sometimes I sit down with a podcast. If I'm being honest, a lot of times I'm reading scripture. I am somebody that believes in the Bible. And so a lot of times I'm reading scripture. But that happened. I do that now because I had to learn to do that. I didn't just stumble into that. I had to literally listen to my community around me. And so one of the first things that I did when I noticed I needed to change my mindset, because you hear people talk about it and some people it sounds wonky. But when I was going through hardship and I realized that I couldn't do this by myself, I embraced the idea of surrounding myself with community, with like-minded people. And when I surrounded myself with community, they taught me strategies. They gave me books to read. Like one of my greatest books that I read is by Dr. Caroline Leaf. It's called Switch on Your Brain. And in that book, she literally teaches you, she's a neuroscience scientist, and she literally teaches you neuroplasticity, which is like how to rewire your brain, how to talk to yourself with positive talk, because so many times we talk to ourselves with negative talk. So it was tools like that that gave me the idea of setting a routine for myself. And so like I said, daily I do something. I can't say it's regimented where I do one thing, but I'm always starting my day off making setting my intentions, making sure I'm doing something healthy for my mind, for my body, for my soul. Sometimes it's all three. Sometimes it's more intentional with the mind. Sometimes it's more intentional for my soul. Sometimes I will sit in a quiet room and just cry. You know why? Because fellas, we are human beings. I know some men like, you gonna cry? Yeah, we human. We got tear ducts for a reason, right? And so sometimes it comes through my body, in tears, and sometimes that's the way I center myself because I'll get a good cry and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Sometimes it's 3 a.m. talks with my wife in the morning, just pillow talk, me being honest with her about, hey, babe, I'm a little scared. Or, babe, if I'm being honest, I'm a little jealous because you're giving a lot of people your time and not giving time to me. So I'm just giving different people ideas of what I do to kind of center myself in the morning. It's not just one thing, it's the whole, just making sure I'm doing something healthy to start my day. I always say, self-care is either it's healthy, holy, and honest. That's what I feel like healthcare is. It got to be healthy. It has to be, for me, holy, meaning it ain't nothing, ratchet. And it has to be honest. It has to be something I'm not scared to tell other people. So again, Fong, I hope that answers your question, brother.
All your answers are great so far, so I don't know why you keep on trying to get this. Hey, I hope it's great. But
Right.
so uh, so there's that awkward phase where people say that, okay, I want to implement this. I have the right mindset, but doing it
Yeah.
sometimes is either forced or they have to find a way to trick themselves or hold themselves
Yeah.
accountable to maintain that mindset. We've heard them
Yeah.
all. You put an elastic band on your wrist, and every time you have a negative thought, you snap it, right? Or
Yeah.
if you want to wake up and exercise every morning, put the alarm clock way, way far on the other side of the room, and then
Yeah.
put your running shoes right beside, so you have to get up, put it on, and go, right?
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
something that you do that forces yourself until it becomes rhythm and routine?
Man, I'm glad you asked that. So you see me bending over because I wanted to grab this book. It's called Atomic Habits. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's by James Clear. and he teaches you how to develop healthy habits. And so everything you said is so true. Like we cannot get around. We have to be intentional. Like we can't get around that. You're going to have to build some type of routine. What I love about James Clear in this book, he shows you how to implement it in a way that's advantageous for you. Like he talks about implementing things that are fun, right? Routines like tying something, your goal to something that's fun. He teaches routine of tying your goals to something that's practical. Let's say, for instance, we all brush our teeth. I think we all brush our teeth in the morning. I guess it depends. If you don't, that's between you and the people that you're surrounded with. That got to be surrounded by you. But he talks about how maybe before you brush your teeth, maybe do 5 push-ups, maybe do 2 push-ups, right? Like start his one of his main messages is to be 1% better than what you was yesterday. And so I think for me, that's something in the book, out of all the many pages, is something that stuck with me. Q, just be 1% better. Don't try to eat the whole elephant all at once. Don't try to compare yourself to somebody else. Fong making jog 5 miles. For me, it may be just jogging 5 minutes. Like, so we can't escape we have to be intentional about something. We have to, put the effort forward, but start small. And so for me, what helps me and has helped me is to start small, have grace on myself. And he talked about habit stacking. And then I build momentum when I start small, when I do the little thing, congratulate myself for doing the little thing. Sometimes it's just, well, I'm not at this space now, but before it was literally just putting my shoes on and taking a quick walk around the block. That was like 15 minutes and being okay and satisfied with that. And then that started off, okay, half an hour. Then I started off an hour. Then it's like before you know it, you're jogging. And this doesn't, I know it seems like it's happening quickly, but it don't happen quickly. It's just the failure to success, the failure to success, the success, the success, the success, the failure, the success, the success, the success, the success, the success, the success, the temporary setback, then the success. So for me, having grace, being 1% better, those are kind of the things that really help me to find a routine that I can stick with, that I don't compare to nobody else, that just really compared to being 1% better than I was the day before. And I'm going to say it again. I hope that answers the question.
I think I have a title for this episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that answer because everybody has a different way of doing it. Your mindset's very strong when it comes to I just want to be 1% better, and you keep on reminding yourself that kind of stuff. For me, it was a little bit more difficult. I needed a little bit more what do you call it, commitment. So
Yeah.
I had this 2-year period where I was on the treadmill every single morning. 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. every single morning for 700 some days, right? And the reason why I was able to do that was I've always wanted to, but I couldn't find the motivation, the push to do it. And then
Yeah.
I was watching my cousin on Facebook Reels, and she posted
Okay.
herself on her bike. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
could do that. If she can do it, I'll do it. So I woke up one morning, went downstairs, went on my treadmill, and then posted day one.
Mm.
And like, damn, now I'm committed because I can't look like I
Yeah.
failed on day two. So then after a
Yeah.
while, you just keep on building it, and you're like, oh, I can't miss now. I'm already at 157, something like that. So
Yeah.
for me, that's what kind of works. And everybody out there needs to find different ways and different strategies that makes it work for them. And hearing you speak and sometimes hearing other people speak, which one actually benefits them the most.
Thank you.
Now, I met you through the Real Estate Pros podcast, and
Yeah.
you're a great podcaster, and you also have Parables Now. What Tell us more about those two ventures that you're working on, and also what are you looking for specifically for those two ventures?
Love it. Love it. So they both kind of work hand in hand because I'm at the center of it, right? Of course, Parables Now, I'm sorry, the Real Estate Pros, I'm one of the co-hosts of the Real Estate Pros. So there's other hosts, is a whole network of us that really try to help power the vision and dream of our founder, Mike Hambright. And so he's been very successful in real estate. but he has the mindset of creating community around real estate where people help each other. And so me and some other hosts, we do podcasts for him so that we can connect the real estate world with each other. But still, me being a host, I'm at the center of that, right? And so Parables now is more something that me and my wife, we're building ourselves. And the concept of the two are really the same because my philosophy is always the same. My purpose is to unite people, to help people recognize things in themselves, to create space for them to recognize themselves. And I use storytelling as that platform to do that because I believe stories are powerful. I believe everybody has a story. And so, as the host of the Real Estate Pros podcast, my job is specifically to create space for people around the real estate space, around the real estate world. I always tell people my style is not an interview style. My style is to create conversation. I want to create conversation around what it is that you do best. And that mirrors everything that I do in life because when I'm talking to someone, I am trying to create space for them to be seen, known, and heard. That's what I'm trying to do. I feel like that's one of my purposes. I know that has changed my life drastically is when going to therapy, being seen, being known, being heard has helped me identify. And because I can identify, I find identity. And I find myself in both worlds, in Parables Now and in the Real Estate Pros, literally doing the same thing. Is to make sure that I am allowing people to be seen, known, and heard so that they can identify what's going on. And once they identify, they find identity. And so with the Real Estate Pros podcast, of course, people come on majority of the time, they have a background in real estate and they talk about, some of the strategies that they've used to build success. But me as a host, I always like to think and dig into the mindset. Well, what's the mind behind the person with the strategy? And so on the Real Estate Pros podcast, I have a line where I always say, destiny has no wasted moments, right? So they tell me their origin story. They tell me kind of how they got into the space. I give them a summary and then I let them know, hey, destiny has no wasted moments. And because they already gave the summary, the wheels have already been turning. And so they gave the dots. But when I say destiny have no wasted moments, they instantly start reflecting and connect the dots. They be like, yeah, you're actually right. Destiny don't and has no wasted moments. So I asked them, what has the journey taught you about yourself? And they start to connect the dots and allows them to see themselves. It allows them to recognize themselves. It allows them to recognize, dang, like I have been kind of thinking about this since I was young. I've thought about owning my own business. Like, I started off selling candy in school and that kind of macerated to me now, selling and buying real estate. They start to connect the dots. So that's what I do on the Real Estate Pros. On Parables Now side, I create space again for people to tell their stories. And so Parables Now, it has 3 tiers. It has the gathering, the naming, and the framing. And so the gathering is a speaker conference where I invite people all around the world to tell their story, right? And to tell it in the way where they don't try to dominate the room, but they hold space and actually have some restraint where they tell their story, but they allow the story to breathe so people can recognize themselves in their story. So they can connect the dots. We teach them a way of telling their story in a way where destiny has no wasted moments, where they know that they don't say it, but they speak it with their story because they show the connecting dots of their story. And that allows other people to start connecting dots in their story. So Parables Now, frame 1 is the gathering. And then we have the naming. And the naming is where I sit down with people one-on-one so we can get more on a deeper level for them to recognize what's at work in their life, right? And so then we have the framing. I think I said that right. So the naming is the one-on-one and the framing is more of a cohort where I teach people my secret sauce because I was about to say I'm not special. I am special. God made me special, but I'm not the only one. Like this, the gift that I have, it can be trained. in someone. And so I want people to not need me to help them recognize what's in them. I want them to recognize, I want them to learn and recognize it for themselves. And then I want them to be able to help other people recognize it in themselves. And so it's a cohort where I teach them how I've trained myself to do this. And now I want you to go train other people. Like I want you to go impact the world so people will be unstuck. And so, you know what I'm gonna say, Fong? I hope I answered the question. I think I did, but I hope I answered the question.
Q on the Q in the Catalan.
Yeah, right, yeah.
First of all, I would like to say that yeah, you are a very very special individual. You say what you said, but lots of people aren't able to do what you are doing. Lots of people are not willing to either share or aren't able to find a way to share it because they don't know how to communicate it. And I say this to a lot of my clients with regards to book writing. I mean, I could write the exact same book as you, but I can't connect to the same people as you do. So therefore, it's your voice that people wants to hear. So your voice is special and your voice is impactful, and you are impacting a lot of people already. Hence, you are a very special individual.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
I would like to also ask the fact that when it comes to podcasting, it's not something that everybody does. It's not something
Mhm.
that was very popular until the recent 5 years ago, kind of thing. It just kind of
Yeah.
came up. You were able to find that as a viable option for feeding your passion and
Yeah.
making it a business viable. How were you able to do that? Because not very many people
Mm.
are able to connect passion with
Yeah.
financial stability. So how were
Yeah.
you able to connect that?
Yeah. I would have to say community. I would have to say podcasting was not an original idea for me. I literally had people in my life, my mother. I have what I call a group of accountability brothers. So one of my accountability brothers, friends, sometimes acquaintances, people that's kind of stranger, but when you talk to them, they say, "Do you have your own podcast?" So it was literally other people telling me this is what I should do. You and I, we was talking. I'm an introvert, Fong. Like I'm jovial. I love serving people. I know I'm called to serve people. But if you take the service part away, y'all please don't get mad at me. But I honestly don't really like people that much. Like, I mean, if I didn't have to serve them, if I could be by myself, I would love to be by myself. But because I know healing happens in community, because I know I'm called to serve people, then that makes me mission oriented to make sure that I serve people. But as soon as the mission is over, I'm going by myself because I need to recharge. So to answer your question, it was other people telling me you should get into podcasting. It was some people actually sitting down showing me numbers like, do you know like the money you can make like if you started doing this? Because for me, it's not about that. Like I'm not going to do something that I'm not passionate or I feel like I'm not called to do in a sense. I guess called maybe is not the word, but being authentic, just being authentic myself. I feel like I can't be authentic. And so once I started listening to them and I started, okay, obviously people are saying that there's a demand for what I have. I have multiple people saying that there is a demand for what you have, and this is the tool that you can use. And because I am submitted to serving people, it was it almost became like a no-brainer, right? It almost became like if there is a valuable tool that you can use and be authentic while you use it and have impact, I would be selfish not to do it. And so when I first started podcasting in 2020, I didn't want to be on camera. Everything was audio for me. I teamed up with one of those same people that's talking about Q, you need to do this. And people, it was such an alignment. People started donating stuff. Somebody made my website for free. People started giving me, they made my logo. The logo wasn't free, but people started making up t-shirts for free for me, to put my logo on, t-shirts. People started donating stuff. People that I would ask to come be on a podcast, it was seamless. They was like, absolutely. I started having a list of people waiting to get on the podcast. And so it was almost like the stars aligned. And so how did I get into it? Why did I choose it? How did the confluence, the confluency happen? It's literally because I listened to a community of people around me that said this would be a valuable tool. But not only did I listen to them, I couldn't betray myself. I had to be honest with myself, like, hey, this is something that I do authentically. This is something that I do for free. I hold space for people literally probably every day. Like if it's on a phone, it's not necessarily on podcast. So it's on the phone. It's in a grocery store. I went to the grocery store the other day and I talked to this woman for an hour. Something fell. She was in a wheelchair. Something fell. I told her, ma'am, I said, I got it. I picked it up. And from there sparked an hour conversation of me sitting there talking to her, holding space. So it's just something that I naturally did all my life. So it just made sense that there is a tool. People are telling me there's a demand and you can use this tool. It just made sense. Not that, I would be, again, selfish if I didn't do it. That's how I looked at it. So yeah.
And then you got
I'm not
home.
going to say it this time because I feel like I answered this. I'm not going to say it this time, but no, go ahead.
Yeah. And then you got home that day and their wife's like, where's the milk? I said, oh yeah.
No. So here's the thing. I actually called my wife because I was smart enough to know I've been gone for a long time. And two, my wife is an amazing storyteller too. And so she's an amazing connector as well. And so I wanted her to meet the person that I was talking to. So I actually called her on WhatsApp. I'm not sure if people know what the WhatsApp is. So we could be face to face. And then she talked to the woman for about 15 minutes, and so, yeah. So to your answer I actually got my wife involved. And that way I made sure I didn't miss anything. I closed the loop. So yeah.
Great. When it comes to the whole authenticity thing, you were saying that there's that gap again where you don't feel like you want to do this, but then all of a sudden it kind of fit. Everything kind of fit in. Now, what was it that you've done that made it financially stable? Because lots of people out there doing podcasting, there are lots of people doing content creation, and it's authentic. It's their passion. That's what they want to talk about. But changing that into something where money comes in, that is another step up. What did you do to make that happen?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna keep bringing up this word community. Like I am not no brand strategist. I'm not no genius when it came to the X's and O's. Like, oh yeah, we can make this work. How did I turn it into money? Is because I teamed up with other people. I trusted other people who were good in this space for them to do their part, for me to do my part. My part is I am a visionary. So I can write visions, but I'm not great at implementation. Sometimes my head is in the clouds and I need people to make sense of what it is that's in my head. And so I've been blessed that it's almost like every opportunity kind of came to me. So even, in the Parables Now world and in the Real Estate Pros world, the Parables Now world, it was a lot of my friends who had businesses, who ran podcasts, who was engineers in the studio that was like, we need to do this. Let's partner up and do it. And so I was able to partner up and let them kind of handle the business. I mean, I got business savvy, but again, just knowing your lane, right? And so really it's the partnering up piece that made me generate money. Even partnering up with Mike. Like, he has the infrastructure, right? He has everything in place. It's almost kind of like, hey, I just need you to be the talent. And so instead of me thinking about, how am I, do lead generation? How am I going to build up, this list of people that's going to come on the show? Mike already had that all sold out in the team. Like his genius, like this is what he does. It's like, Quentin, just partner up with me here. And so how did I turn it into money? It's partnering up with the right people, not trying to be something that I'm not, being authentic about who I am. Like, I've tried to do things on my own and it never worked. So how did I turn it into money? Is literally partnering up with other people, building a community and support team that knows what they're doing well, and then partner up with them. And then, and this is how I do what I do now. So, yeah.
Great answer, because like a lot of people out there thinks that they have to do everything themselves.
Yep.
And it's the moment that you believe that you have to do everything but yourself is the moment there's a ceiling. You're eventually gonna hit something. And
Yep.
whether it's the financial aspect or the lead generation aspect or even the speaking aspect or whatever it is, you're gonna eventually hit something. So you need to surround yourself with the right people. Now,
Absolutely.
one of the things in your bio you said was that the truth is often recognized before it is explained. That is
Yeah.
something that I haven't heard very often. Could you
Yeah.
kind of dive a little bit deeper about that?
Yeah, man. And it's funny because I was pondering on this even before I read that line myself, like literally before I got on. And the best way for me to explain this, and I'm not trying to make this, a religious thing. I'm not trying to make this a religious thing, but Jesus taught in parables, right? And he taught in parables because people sometimes they try to in with their intellect try to get the truth, but sometimes truth is recognized is what's felt. Like sometimes you feel something's true even before your brain can work it out, before your brain can process it. And so Jesus taught in stories because truth is something that kind of hits you. You know it when you know it. Like, are you married?
Yep.
What made your wife different than the other females? Right? It was something you felt like you felt the first part before you could put intellect to it. Like I just feel something. It's something about it. I can't explain. And then after years of experience, you can explain it. I feel safe around her. I don't have to pretend. She loved me when I was broke, and now that I got money, she still loved me, right? She sees the stuff that nobody else sees, right? So like sometimes truth, you can put your finger on it, like you feel it, but it's not all the way intellectualized just
Yep.
yet. And I just get that from a historic figure, Jesus, like he taught in parables, because the truth was there, but people needed to feel it first before they could actually put words to it.
Right.
And so that's kind of like what I mean with that statement. It's most of the time is recognized. You recognize it. Like you can tell when somebody walk in the room and they're influential and you can't put your finger on it, but you know it. And maybe you might start to say, man, it's the way they walk. Or, oh man, but they take up space. Like often truth is recognized before it's, I want to get this word clean. In Texas, nope, that's not the word. I want to say it's so smooth, but I can't smooth it. But they recognize it before they can put language to it. And so that's what I mean by that. Now, this time I will say again, I hope I answered the question.
To tag on that, I think like what the whole why do you feel something special about somebody else? What are those words that you could say? You could say, "Oh, you make me safe. Oh, you're nice," and then they could always come back as a what that person isn't nice or that person doesn't make you safe. It's a feeling. You just go, I feel that way, no matter what words you say.
Yep.
It comes back down to that feeling. In a
Yep.
real estate side, you can feel, yeah, this is not the right investment for me, or
Yep.
yeah, I'm hanging on to this dud, but I'm so
Yep.
emotionally connected to it that I don't want to let go,
Yeah.
but I feel that it's not the right one kind of thing, right? So lots of
Yeah.
people can relate to that. It's just that sometimes it takes some time to finally admit it or explain
Yeah.
it or more in
That
detail,
part.
right?
And people call it different things. So people say, it was intuition. People say I felt it in my gut. One word I use is the word discernment. Like I discerned it, right? And you will learn over time. Like what I want people to do over time is to trust that feeling. Is you eventually will be able to give language to it, but when you immediately you feel it, because sometimes you have empirical data based on a past experience when you felt the same thing,
Mhm.
you can act quickly now before you can give it language. You can just sum up to say it's a feeling. I
Right.
feel it in my gut. Some cops, when you watch cop shows, they say I got a hunch. They say I got a hunch, and I want everybody to realize that you can trust that feeling, and maybe you can trust it right now, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Maybe it has got you in trouble in the past. That's okay. I understand that. But over time, I want people to trust themselves. I want people to trust what they recognize. And so my part is to help them recognize it clearly, cleanly, and to put some language to it. I can help people put language to it. We can slow down and we can find out what's your word to it. Do you say it's intuition? Do you say it's gut? Do you say you heard a voice? Do you say you felt it, in your body? Because there's a book that says the body keeps the score. So sometimes you'll feel it in your body. Sometimes the hairs on your arms will stand up. Like different people are connecting to it in different ways. I want people to trust it when they feel it. When they know they feel it, when they know they got the way that they feel it, I want them to trust it.
Mhm. Great answer. And you did answer it perfectly. So nicely done.
Man, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
What's the next big thing for you? You're growing parables now. You're also
Yeah.
a podcast host, and you're doing all this other stuff for community. What's that next big thing, and what are you looking for to help you achieve that?
Ooh, great question. So the next big thing is to have parables now all around the world, to have the philosophy. And the philosophy is everything that we talked about, right? People being known, seen, and heard. To have that philosophy get contagious for people, to hold space for people, because this is going to affect your children. You're going to learn to hold space with your children. You're going to learn how to have them be seen, known, and heard. Just imagine some of us, if you can go back in your childhood, imagine if your parents really saw you. They really felt you. They didn't dismiss some of the things that you were saying, right? Imagine in your jobs, as some of us, have W-2, some are still employees. Imagine if your boss saw you, if you were seen, heard, and known by your boss. Imagine in your marriages if you were seen, known, and heard. Imagine in relationships if you were seen, known, and heard. Imagine as a country if we were seen, known, and heard. Imagine as different races if we were seen, known, and heard. So my big thing is to start to, I don't know why this word came, but I'm gonna say it, impregnate people with this philosophy of holding space for people, of slowing down for people to be seen, known, and heard. Slowing down and recognizing what's in other people, but also recognizing with things within yourself. Allowing yourself for yourself to be seen, known, and heard by you. Allowing yourself. So one of the things I heard to do to really embrace and accept yourself is to stand in front of a mirror, butt naked, and look at yourself. And look at all the parts that you don't want to accept about you. I've lost over 100 pounds twice in my life. I'm at it again. I'm down like 2 shirt sizes. But, I got some man boobs. I got some things that I just wish was different. But I want to be able to look at myself and still accept me for who I am. Accept and love the person that's in front of me. That way, once I embrace that person, I can change, but I'm not going to change in effect of shaming myself or not loving myself. So the big thing for me is to let the parables now philosophy start to expand across the globe. And I think the way to do that is the gatherings that we're going to have, putting people on a level playing field. Like, some of the gatherings will be people that you may have seen on TV, that you may have known, but also it may be the mom and pop owner on the corner store telling their story. Maybe it would be somebody that's a Christian, or maybe it'd be somebody that's atheist, right? Like everybody deserves their story to be told. You may not agree with it, but there's still a lot of things that you can learn from it. So to answer your question, the big idea is to continue to impregnate the parables now philosophy all across this globe. And that's going to be one step at a time, 1% better every day. So it's going to start with the gatherings. It's going to start with sitting down with people. It's going to start with the cohort, the framing. The big idea, again, is just to plant parables now in different cities all across the world. I was talking to somebody from the Real Estate Pros podcast, and he's in Indonesia. He's in Bali. And one of the first things I wrote down for the goal for Parables Down to have a Parables Down Bali. That was one of the very first things. I don't know where the thought came from. And when I told him we got to interacting, he was like, you already got a seed planted here. You let me know when you're ready. And so it's just to plant this philosophy all around the world. Like Fong, this is, I feel like my way. You know how, in the beauty pageants, they say, what is your goal? And she's like, I want world peace, and people laugh, oh, ain't that cute? But no, that's how I feel. I feel like this is my contribution to the world. This is my way of making the world a safer place, to making the world a more cohesive, less divided place. If I can show people how to recognize what's going on in them and recognize what's going on in others. Not because I'm a guru, not because you need to depend on me. No, let me show you so I can move out the way and you can take your skill set, as you talked about with the book, your crowd you're supposed to reach, and let that crowd be seen, known, and heard, and let that thing be contagious all around the world. So that's my big idea.
Very, very noble of you, and also
Yeah.
congratulations on all the success you've already had. And one thing I really want to really highlight with what you said was the fact that you said they may be Christian, but I also want to interview the atheists, and you may or may not agree with one another, but you get to share and people get to learn from each other, right? And I find
Yeah.
that in today's day and age, there's so much divisiveness between, oh, you like this, therefore I can't be with you or I can't talk to you at
Right.
all, right? Which
Yeah.
is so opposite of what like all this online stuff. We have all this
Yeah.
online stuff is so that we could connect with other people. And then everybody's shutting people out because they don't agree with one aspect about something. So,
Yeah.
very, very noble of what you're doing and very glad that you're out there doing this. Now, as a professional podcaster, I know there's lots of people out there who wants to do podcasting, who wants to share their story, who wants to do all that stuff. What's one advice that you could give them to start?
I love this question because this is my answer. And I love this answer. I'm going to be honest with you. I love this answer. My answer always is one, be authentic. Authenticity is in right now. Like people have been getting, can we curse on here? How do you feel
Sure,
about
go
cursing?
ahead.
People have been getting bullshit for a long time. And now most of us are bullshit detectors now. We smell it a mile away. But when you come with authenticity, it has a way of disarming people, right? So number one thing, be authentic. Whatever you want to do as at a podcast, just be authentic. Don't put on no air. Don't try to perform it. Just be authentic. So that's the number one thing. But that ties into this. I always say when you go to do a podcast, you want to grow the core, not grow a crowd. So I know numbers can bring brand deals and all that different stuff. I get it. But when you go to do a podcast, you want your core people solid, your core following, core people, they like you for you. So for instance, when I first started, because I had friends and family that told me I need to do this, that was my core people. And so sometimes the numbers was just core people. That's all it was. But then they start to tell other people, and those people start to tell other people. But my core never changes. And I don't pander to the crowd. A crowd of people, they'll come just to see the train wreck. They'll come to see you fall on your face. Like you ever, you pass a collision on the road, everybody starts to rubberneck, things start to slow down, things start to get crowded, right? The accident, things start to get crowded. Sometimes people will come just because the crowd, they want to see you train wreck, they want to say you can't do it. So don't worry about the crowd, always worry about the core. And the core comes with being authentic, speaking to people that's going to organically grow with you. Don't do gimmicks to try to get a crowd because the crowd will come and go, but the core will always be there. The core will always be there. I'm 6 years later. My core is still with me. My core is helping me transition this from just a podcast now to a worldwide speaker gathering. The core is still there. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, be authentic, figure out your core, and always speak to your core. Don't try to speak to the crowd. That's my advice.
Nicely done. Hopefully, everybody out there, whether it's podcasting, whatever it is, that's still very, very important, right? Being authentic in the everyday life, being able to connect with your core is also very, very important as well. So if you do that with podcasting, it just skyrockets. Before I
Absolutely.
let you go, this time has gone by very, very fast. I'm gonna
Yes, it
ask you
has.
5 quick rapid fire questions. Give me the first thing that comes to mind. You're
Okay.
stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. You'll still be in shape and healthy. What would that be?
Steak.
You're on a road trip, hours on end. For one reason, there's only one song that plays on repeat. What is that?
Ooh, it's this song by Trip Lee called Boast. And it talks about not boasting in yourself, but for me, it talks about boasting in God.
Mhm.
And so for me, it keeps me centered to not be selfish. But if I'm a boast, like I talked about community and stuff, I'm not in front of you because of me. And I know I play a part in it, but I'm in front of you because all the other pieces came together because of my community, because of my core. So Boast is a song called by Trip Lee called Boast. It reminds me not to boast in me, but boast in the other things around me.
Normally, I don't ask, but I feel like I'm confident enough that I'll get this out of you. Would you like to sing a line?
Who it says, if I boast, yeah, I think it says, if I boast, let it be in you. Let it be in you. And so that just, if I boast, and it's so catchy for me, if I boast, let it be in you. So yeah, yeah,
Nicely done. All right,
absolutely.
Hollywood calls and goes, "Hey, Quentin, we love to do a biopic of you because you're so motivational. Who would you
Yeah.
cast to play you?"
Anthony Anderson.
He shows up at your door and goes, "Hey, I got cast to play you. Let's have some fun. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other." What are you gonna do? Like, where are you gonna take him out? How does that night look like?
So if I'm not mistaken, Anthony Anderson and Cedric the Entertainer, they have a barbecue place. They have barbecue spices and rubs, but they have a barbecue place. So I'm trying to go to his barbecue spot. Like, bro, let's get some barbecue. Now, if he throw it back on me, like, well, Quinn, I eat barbecue all the time. I want to do something that you want to do. Well, I'm gonna take him and get some crab cakes. Because if y'all know anything about Baltimore, anything about Maryland, we known for our crab cakes. So if he put it back on me, I'm gonna take him to get crab cakes.
Your dream interview, either one, anybody you want, and two, a fictional character.
Whoa. Okay. Dream interview, rapid fire. So Tim Ross comes to mind. He is his show is called The Basement. The Basement with Tim Ross. He's been majorly influential in my life. He showed me how to kind of be free to be me in a sense. And so Tim Ross, and then you said a fictional character.
It could be a
That's good.
it could be a
That's
cartoon
good.
character. It could
Yeah.
be whatever you want. Fictional.
Bro, that's good. I feel like I should be able to get this one because I love movies. Um, and I just don't want to say nothing just to say it. I wanted to mean something. Okay, so oh man, I'm kind of getting a little emotional. So this got a dual part to it. So this is based in fictional character, but also real life person. So Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther,
Okay.
right? So I would want to interview Black Panther, but it's really because I want to interview Chadwick Boseman. You know what I mean?
So
And
two for
so,
one.
yeah. So listen. Hopefully, I answered that question.
Let's do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Number from
yeah.
1 to 4.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uber. So
yeah.
if you had to use Uber as a metaphor for success, how is success like Uber?
This is good. So I drove Lyft for 5 years, bro. So I'm gonna put the Uber philosophy. I had to use it as repeat the question for me one more time. I'm so sorry.
So if you're using Uber as a metaphor for success, how is
Yeah.
success like Uber?
So the metaphor is that you are going to meet and pick people up on your journey of life. It's going to be random people, people you're going to come in contact, you're going to pick them up. You have to know the destination and you have to know when to release people at the right part of the destination. Some people are with you for a lifetime, some people are with you for a season. You're only going to have so many passengers that you can carry with you. And so you have to know when to release some people along your journey, your destination. Some people are going to pay you. They're going to pay you fair wage. Some people are going to tip you because they're going to see in you that you went above and beyond. Don't let the tips swell you. Don't be too hyped about it and depend on the tips, but also be generous enough to accept them because you're worthy of it. So don't swell too much when people don't tip you. Don't be so upset about that. And don't try to live off the tip. Don't try to live off the feedback of somebody saying you did an exceptional job. Do your job, clock in, do the journey, know when to drop people off, know when to accept praise, and know when to believe and trust yourself. So that would be mine.
Nicely done. That is how success is like Uber. That just spawned almost an entire talk that you can do. So
Yeah.
very, very well done. Uh, Thank you for your time. Thank you for your
Yeah.
stories, your authenticity, your energy. It was a pleasure interviewing you. I know before we started this whole recording, you were saying you were nervous, and then I'm sitting here thinking I'm talking to a professional
Oh
podcaster. So
man.
so
Yeah.
I don't know how did I do?
Ooh, I'm glad you asked because you are exceptional. I nerves went so far out the window. You made me feel so comfortable. I know I'm always on the other side of this, but brother, I did not feel like a host that was being interviewed. I felt like, and I'm getting emotional, I felt like you saw me, I felt like you knew me, and I felt like you heard me. And so, sir, you were excellent. You are a true craftsman. And so, yeah, this was great. This was great. This was great for me, man. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Any final words from you, and how do people reach out to you?
Man, so definitely y'all stay connected. I'm not sure, if it's your first time here with Fong. I'm not sure if you're recurrent. Stay connected to this gentleman. Be part of the core. Don't be part of the crowd. Be part of the core. This gentleman is doing something great. I love the way he's seeing people. I love the way he's creating space for people. I love the way he's giving you different keys to success. And so please stay connected here. And if you want to connect with me, you can reach out to me. You can email me at qedmonds@parablesnow.com. Would love for you to go check out the website, parablesnow.com. And that's how you can get in contact with me. But definitely stay connected here. Stay connected with this podcast. Stay connected with this gentleman here, because I promise you, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot. He's going to continue to give y'all seeds and bring people on to give you seeds. And so that's my final send off, sir.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. And again, thank you for all your time and your stories, everybody. Make sure you connect with Q. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of fun chatting with him and learning from him. So make sure you connect with him. Until next time, he's Quentin. I'm Fong. Until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.